to thank the Friends of the Thomas Crane Public Library for their support of this program and many other programs that we get to host here, and it's because of their generosity and support that we can do that. So, because we got delayed anyway, I'm just going to hand it over to Eileen Reed.
Thanks. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Does that sound good?
Yep.
All right. Well, welcome, and thank you to Mike and Eileen and Jake and the Thomas Crane Library for inviting me to come here today. And especially thanks to all of you. Now, here in New England, weather can be pretty dodgy, right? We've had a lot of hot days, and then there's rain. So for you to share a beautiful summer evening like we have today, by being in this room with me today, so I thank you guys so much. Give yourselves a round of applause for what you're doing. All right. So I am Eileen Kelly Reed. I'm an organizing and productivity coach. And I say that because to me it's not about organizing per se. It's not about the perfect little bin or, you know, just the right hangers in your closet. It's really about what does it do for you? Does it make you more efficient? Does it make you more productive? Does it save you time? Does it bring you joy? That's what it's all about. And for me, it's also less about organizing and more about having less to organize. So, you know, a lot of the work that I do with my business and my residential clients, I've been in business for 10 years now. And a lot of what we do is kind of centered around coaching them, guiding them to discover for them what's enough. What's enough for them, their lives, their families, their business, what's enough? And over the 10 years working with clients, I have been witness to just how crushing and suffocating and stifling and stressful it is when we keep piling on more and more. And I've also been witness to when we untangle and uncomplicate and simplify, just how much better life can be. I believe that a simplified life really gives you the joy to create a joyfully full, deeply meaningful, and really abundant life. I have to admit, though, I didn't always believe this. So I'll take you back to the start. So when I was little, I was in love with everything French. France, you know, the Eiffel Tower, the language, and I think it really has its roots in the fact that my dad was born in France. And he lived there for a few years when he was just a little guy coming over to the US with his family at age 5. And we would sit around the dinner table and speak French, and we called his parents grand-mère and grand-père, and I just fell in love with everything French. In high school, I was fortunate enough to be able to be part of a student exchange program. And I had a French girl come stay with our family for a month, and then I went over and stayed with her family for a month. And after that experience, I was just even way more into France and the culture. Because what I discovered living with that French family was that like their living spaces were very uncluttered and clear. Who's been to France? Raise your hand. Okay. So I found that like there just wasn't clutter. There weren't like cabinets overstuffed with stuff. It's almost like the space was intended for people and not things. A little bit different than back home. And I also noticed that the mom would go shopping, food shopping, just about every day. She'd go to the cheese shop and the butcher and the baker. And so in turn, food was really fresh and they didn't need huge kitchens to store everything. If you've been to France, you've probably noticed that their kitchens are wicked small. And, you know, again, they just didn't need to store all that stuff. I also noticed that they didn't have as many clothes as we did back in the States, and they would wear their clothes kind of over and over again. So the last thing I noticed was they were very active. They would walk way more than we did. In fact, the family had one car, And the entire month I was there, I saw them drive it twice. Once to pick me up from the airport, and the second time to drop me off at the airport. Like they walked everywhere or took public transportation. So again, my fascination grew because their life was minimal and efficient, yet it was really a full, rich life. So when it came time for college, again, I wanted to be the French major, right? But everybody around me convinced me that business would be a much more practical route. So 4 years later, with my business degree, I got a job and I really found myself just immediately swept up into that corporate, just like hamster wheel. And I was a very successful salesperson and sales trainer for a software and IT consulting company. Now, it was pretty awesome. There were trips. I earned cuckoo money, like 6 figures. I'm 20-something. I'm earning 6 figures year over year. Like it was just intoxicating, and there were trips and prizes, and my husband and I just bought all the stuff you're supposed to buy to make you happy. And I remember on one trip, who has been to Aruba? Oh, people, you gotta go. It is a slice of heaven. And I remember on one sales trip that I won, and my husband and I went, we were sitting on the beach in Aruba, and it just has the most perfect gentle breeze that blows. And the sun was dancing on the water. We're sitting on the beach under this little cabana thatched thing, and on these wicked cushy lounge chairs, and we've each got a strawberry daiquiri, and we could hear sort of the music in the background. And I looked at him and I said, man, this is the life. And in truth, about 5% of the time, that work I did, that grind, gave us like 5% awesome. But 95% of the time, you guys, I was so stressed. I was so stressed that I would grind my teeth every night while I slept. And my teeth got crooked, they were straight across. I had to wear an appliance every night to bed, real sexy. I had killer migraines, crazy. I had high blood pressure. I remember going to my doctor in the ER 3 times in my 20s and 30s with a racing heartbeat, thinking I was having a heart attack. And they would put the Holter monitor on for a couple of days, and it was just stress. It was just that climbing, clawing, sales, you know. May, you're the salesperson of the month, and June, you're right back down to 0. And everybody's just clawing. I also gained a lot of weight. Oh, there I am in France. There I am on your right, rocking my jean jacket. But here I am in the middle, accepting one of my sales awards, and I had gained a lot of weight because I was so sedentary. I was working so much, there just was no time to kind of pay attention to moving my body and eating better. I had crappy sleep. Oh my gosh, does anybody ever have this where your brain just won't shut up at night and you feel like you're working all night and you wake up exhausted? Like, that was my life. And I honestly just thought that that's what you get when you're a busy, successful mover and shaker salesperson. And then in 2010, my dad got sick very suddenly, and he had to have emergency surgery, and he ends up in ICU with a trach. He can't speak. And my 4 siblings, my mom and I are in ICU, and I would be the one who would just look at my phone and say, "Excuse me, Dad," as you're fighting for your life, "I just need to peel out and take this client call." Or the doctor would come in to talk to us, and I'd be getting an email from my boss. I'm like, sorry, gotta go. Like I kept leaving. And it was one of those ahas. I was trying to do everything, and when you try to do that, you end up doing nothing well. I wasn't doing great at my job. I was being a shitty daughter, let's face it. You know, and I just, everything, I was doing, trying to just do it all. So that moment, coupled with all that was happening to me, stopped me in my tracks. And I chose to walk away from my sales career at the high of my high. Say goodbye to 6 figures. And all the trips and the prizes and the teeth grinding and the heart attacks. And I started Simplify with Eileen. But first, I really worked on me. I worked on simplifying my own life. I started going to presentations and seminars and workshops by thought leaders in the organizing and simplification industry. I read tons of books. I joined the National Association of Professional Organizers, and my husband and I really worked on our lives. We had yard sales, we gave things to friends and families, we donated a ton. We got out from under all the crap and just realized how much better life is when you just uncomplicate. So, since then, I'm happy to say, in the new life I've created, there is no more TMJ or appliance. Threw it away. My blood pressure is perfect. I've gotten a lot more aware of moving my body and what I put into my body and resting my body. I've reconnected with friends that I had lost touch with because I was so busy. And I just really started being present for my mom because my dad did die a few months after that ICU situation. And I really needed to be there for her and present. So I love the simplified life that I've created. Disclaimer, please, I'm not suggesting that any of you go out tomorrow, quit your job, and haul a dumpster up to your house, okay? Please, no. I just needed to share with you like what my path was, how I came to be here doing what I'm doing and talking about what I'm talking about, and just have you consider. Now, what I will ask you to do is at least start listening, become a little more aware. Listen to some of those little whispers from your soul, and sometimes they're screams from your body, and consider a life of more simplicity and ease. So now on to the fun stuff. Does anybody remember a show, I think it was on TLC a bunch of years back. It was hosted by Peter Walsh, this cute little Australian guy. It was called Clean Sweep. Yes. So, what Peter Walsh says is that clutter is not just the stuff on your floor. Clutter is anything standing between you and the life you want to be living. It's pretty powerful. Like, it's not just stuff. It's not just like Tupperware and boxes in the basement. So, taking that a step further, give me some shout outs. What are other kinds of clutter that you can think of other than just stuff? Just shout them out.
Paper.
Paper clutter. Ooh, how many trees have died? Yes. Thankfully, we're in a little bit more of an age where there's technology that we can use. But oh my gosh, paper. What else? What other kinds of clutter are there? Emails, yes. Ping. And then you're like Pavlov's dog looking at it. Ping. Yes. What else? People clutter, yes ma'am, yes. Relationship clutter, people clutter, shaking those negative Nancy's, those people who just drain you, add nothing, all they're just takers. Consider decluttering some relationships. Yeah. Anything else?
Buying lots of stuff.
Stuff. It always, yeah, it often comes back to stuff. But could we agree that maybe there's like financial clutter? Maybe, you know, you have so many bank accounts and so many different cards and it's just a juggling act and you're always trying to get the 5% off. Well, I'll get the Target card or the TJ Maxx card or the da-da-da. Like that ends up not serving you very well. So there's financial, relationship, clutter perceptions, noise clutter. I did a video one time on my Facebook, I just wanted to let people know that I love silence. I relish silence. I get in my car, there is no radio. I just love putting the windows down and listening to the breeze and just what's around me. So noise clutter can be really a big one. Brain clutter. So in my work with clients, we work on all that kind of clutter. Because a lot of times, those obligation clutters, calendar clutter, all those things, they tend to result in the stuff clutter. So the stuff clutter is oftentimes not the cause, it's the result of other kinds of clutter. So I've named my company Simplify with Eileen because I really do believe in simple, easy, less, under-engineered, uncomplicated. And I'd like to give you an illustration of just how better life is when things are simple. And to do that, I need 3 volunteers to come up and join me, please. Who's brave? It's simple, I swear. 3 volunteers, come on up here. Yes, sir. 2, I need 1 more. Oh, come on now. Thank you. Okay, purple. Sorry, Karen. Karen, sorry. She beat you. I'm sorry.
Take my place.
All right, so just stand right about here. I don't want you to be blinded by the light, so scooch over, scooch all the way towards our gentleman friend here. So you're not like blinded. Oh, that thing's cuckoo. All right, I'm gonna give you number 1. Don't look at it and hold it like this. I'm gonna give you number 2, same thing, don't show anybody. Don't look at it. The instructions are super simple. On each of your sheets of paper are a bunch of numbers, okay? All I want you to do with that pen is connect the numbers in order. For example, 1 to 2, draw a line. 2 to 3, draw a line. 3 to 4, etc. until you're finished.
Do I need my glasses?
I don't know.
What if I want to read something? I'll try it. How big is the font?
I don't know.
All right, I'll try.
If not,
that's
all
fine.
right. Any questions?
No.
When you are finished, just simply put it towards you, don't show anybody else, and say, I'm done. All right?
Okay.
So, on the count of 3, we'll have you start. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, God. It's a lot of hair. This is not funny.
Very tough.
What, you're done?
All set.
Jesus. Mine's different.
What's your name, my friend with the beautiful flowers? What's your name, honey?
Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen.
I'm not done.
All right. You know what, Mary Ellen? Don't worry about it. You can stop, and we're going to show everybody.
No, I'm not going to
We're going
stop.
to show everybody while Mary Ellen doggedly finishes. This is Mary Ellen's sheet of paper. Now, her number, she has 25
Yeah, that's
numbers.
not right. I really
No, no one's a winner here. We're all winners. Okay. So, Mary Ellen had a cluttered set of 25 numbers. They were all over this willy-nilly, no rhyme or reason, and she had to try and connect them. That's hard. Like, let's say that's your closet, and in the morning you fling open your closet and you're like, holy mother of God, like, where are my gray pants? And you're looking, and it's hard. It makes it hard to get somewhere on time and, be productive. Mary Ellen, thank you. You're a good sport. And what's your name?
Jess.
Jess. Okay, Jess also had 25 numbers. But hey, they're organized. makes it a lot easier. Like maybe this is Jess's closet, and she's got all her little purple sweaters, everything purple right here. So she can get out the door super fast if she's looking for something purple. And all her pants are here, and her shoes are organized. Like that makes morning a lot easier, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And my friend, your name?
Zorro.
Zorro.
No, it's not.
I love it.
Oh,
All right, El Zorro here. Now, El Zorro had only 10 numbers and they were organized. Game changer. This is where the magic happens. Again, you have less and you organize it. Now you're firing on all cylinders. Thank you. Let's give these guys up to Mary Ellen. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. So that's kind of our goal, to make things easier. And I'll be honest with you, over the past 10 years, I have seen hundreds and hundreds of clients. I've seen their homes, their offices, their attics, garages, playrooms, bedrooms, pantries. And what I've discovered through all of those experiences is kind of two things. One, they all, pretty much without exception, do have enough space. They'll lament, oh, I don't have enough space. They usually do. And they all, pretty much without exception, have too much stuff. So that's where it starts getting tough. Now, in our world, our culture, our lives, I mean, this is what it's like. We live in a consumer-driven society where we are told to acquire and accumulate. And then this is what ends up happening. So too much is too much. And a few stats, because I always like to share a few stats just so you think like it's not just Simplify with Eileen, just rattling off this stuff. So, we consume twice as many goods today as we did 50 years ago. Now that's a short period of time to double our consumption. Now, in that same 50 years, the size of the average American home has tripled. Let's see a show of hands for how many have at least one TV at home. One TV? Keep your hand up if you have two. Keep your hand up if you have three. Keep it up if you got four. Here's a couple. The truth is we have more televisions in American homes than people living in those homes. What? Let's see. 1 out of 10 Americans rent off-site storage. It is single-handedly the fastest growing segment of commercial real estate. Now, all those people who rent off-site storage, they have garages, they have basements, and they have attics. So what does that tell us? Too much. Yes. And we also have so much stuff that the average American burns about 55 minutes a day looking for things they know they own, but they can't find. I always get that same laughter. We know it's true. Where's the car key? Where's the clicker? Where's the invitation? Where's the receipt? Like, what? That's 55. That's almost an hour a day. How would you like to have that time back?
Sleep.
Yeah. It's almost tired. But time is the most precious thing we have, and we squander it continuously. So, I want to give you another example of kind of that too much is too much. And to do this, I ask that you just sort of trust me and close your eyes, because I want to take you on a little virtual journey, okay? So, get kind of comfy in your seats, and if you feel comfortable, have your eyes closed, and we'll just sort of talk. I'm going to ask you some things, and with your eyes closed, think about it and just shout out answers, okay? So we're going to go on a little virtual journey, and we are going to go to Times Square, New York City. Woo! All right, now get your Get your legs. In New York City, I've dropped you right in the middle. What do you see? People, lights, clutter, buildings, taxis, yeah. You see a lot. There are 6 square blocks. And what a lot of people talk about are those digital billboards, right? There are over 100 blinking, scrolling, lighted billboards in those 6 blocks. Maybe you see the naked cowboy. Now, with your eyes closed, still right in the middle of Times Square, what do you hear?
Noise.
Honking, noise.
Yelling.
Music, yelling, sirens. Now here's the other thing. From those 100 blinking, scrolling, colorful billboards, guess what? They're audio. So now they're yelling at you too. Maybe you hear the song of the street performer on the corner. Now with your eyes still closed, what do you smell there in Times Square? Food, trash, exhaust.
Corner hot dog.
Cooking pretzels.
Oh, someone's hungry. Yeah. Okay, Zorro's got popcorn. Yeah, there's just a cacophony. Maybe it's just that sort of like that weird stench that wafts up from the subway entrance, or maybe too much cologne on the guy walking in front of you. And with your eyes still closed, what do you feel in the middle of Times Square? Excited. I always have somebody who says excited. Yeah, it is exciting to visit. Overwhelmed, stress, anxiety, sometimes a little bit, holding your purse a little closer because you just, feel a little uncomfortable. Anxious, yes. All right, so open your eyes. Thank you. The truth is, all of our senses are assaulted in an environment like this. And this is more and more what our world is going to. It's what our TVs are going to. You ever turn on the news and you got like the main story, you got the weather flashing up here, you got this ticker thing on the bottom. It's like we're kind of like just way overstimulated. And our brains can't process all that. And it just really feels like an assault. And it becomes very counterproductive. So this is kind of the macro view, right? What I'd like to do is bring it down a little smaller and share with you some slides of clients that I've worked with and a few other slides just to sort of give us the awareness of what our lives look like. All right, so this garage, these folks had moved in about 2 years prior. Yeah.
You can see those walls.
There's, I've seen worse, not too bad. But what should be in the garage?
A car.
Thank you. You guys, we live in New England, for God's sake. There's snow and rain and sleet and ice and branches falling and everything. We put our like $30,000 to $60,000 cars outside. And what's inside is like incidental, unimportant stuff that if you kind of added it all up, would, I don't know, maybe about $1,000 or $2,000 tops. And there's our car outside. 25% of people who have 2-car garages don't have room to park either car. So a lot of it is just kind of utilizing our space properly. That's where I help people reclaim the space and let it serve the way it's supposed to serve. So it didn't take much to redo this. They already had the bin, so they had wicked good intentions, which many of my clients do. I will tell you, my clients are no hoarders. They are successful, intelligent, movers, shakers, accomplished, bright people. And it just, things got, like all of you, and things have just gotten away from them. So it didn't take much. We used the bins, we labeled them, put like with like, make sure it's easy to maintain.
Yeah, where are the bikes?
The bikes. The bikes are, oh, their bikes are on the right. Great question.
Are they on
No,
the
no,
walls?
No, they didn't have that system. The bikes are just over on the right, along here. Yeah, good question. No one's ever asked that question in all the years I've done this. You guys are sharp. But again, it didn't take much. We didn't have to buy anything. This is like an old trash can they already had. We just put all the lacrosse sticks and the bats in it. You don't have to go like container store. Yeah. Okay, this is Joe. This is my client Joe. He has, yeah, take a moment. Marinate in that. So Joe is a super successful guy. He's got his own little small IT consulting company. So you know that there's lots of cords and technology and gadgets and gizmos in there. But he's great at that. He just wasn't real good at this. Now, the problem with situations like this is that all the unimportant, outdated, irrelevant nonsense is all inside the drawers and the cabinets, hogging all that good prime real estate. So the important, current, more mission critical stuff ends up piling up. And it just doesn't work. This office got so hard to work in, he took his laptop and went out to the kitchen island. Mrs. Joe didn't really appreciate that. So we had to spend a lot of time going through things and donating all that, technology or recycling it, bringing it to Staples for free. They will take old technology and recycle the parts. And clear out the drawers and files and cabinets of things that just no longer were serving him. Didn't make sense. Now everything can go in. Real life. Oh, wow. I bet you didn't know this was already, it's right there. Oh. It was already there. It was awesome. Like perfect for like little thingies. So,
how long did it stay that clean?
it has, okay, it never stays as good as this, but it's always way better than it was. And some people like Joe, I come back once a quarter, just kind of make sure the systems we put in place, that were systems that work for him and his brain and his style, make sure that those are still working. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it's always better. Now, in a situation like this too, we often find things, like really good things. So, there is Joe's wedding ring. He'd lost it 6 years earlier. Yep. And a year after he lost it, Mrs. Joe was not happy with him running around with no wedding ring, so he had to go out and buy another one. So you get that whole cost. What is the cost of this? It's the cost of that redundancy buying. Expensive stuff, too. So that was a great find, and he was thrilled, everybody was thrilled. Now, we also live in a world where bigger's better, supersize it, colossal jumbo packs of toilet paper and paper towels, and like, my gosh, like this is great if you live in a warehouse. or maybe you have like 9 kids, right? But for most of my clients who are maybe like a family of 2 to 5, these things actually cause problems. Now let me share with you what those are. It's the cost of storing this 40-pack of Bounty paper towels that's this big. Not going to fit in any of your cabinets, folks, no. So sometimes it just sits in the hallway. Or sometimes you go out and buy extra shelving, and in the garage or at the bottom of the basement steps, you got your overflow pantry. It's just too much. And then the stuff that we want to, if we're trying to jam that into our kitchen cabinets or our pantry, now other stuff can't fit in because there's this monster thing of paper towels. And then there's the cost of waste. So, let's say, all right, we love our kids. We want to give them what they want, give them what they ask for. The kids are saying, we love maple oatmeal. Mom, get us the maple oatmeal. So you go to Costco, and here's how they get you. Because you can't buy just maple oatmeal. Oh no, they give you the variety pack. So now you got 20 maple, 20 apple cinnamon, and 20 peanut butter oatmeal in this big box. You take it home. A week later, the kids are like, ah, I'm so over maple oatmeal. We're into like smoothies or egg sandwiches. Because tastes change. They do, it's just part of life. So now, you have in the back of your pantry dying a slow and ugly death. 10 maple oatmeals, 20 apple cinnamon, and 20 peanut butter. I see it all the time with my clients. Laura was one of my clients. She and her husband are Costco people. They have 2 kids, teenagers, and we went through her pantry. And she had a nice big island. So the deal is we take everything out and put it on the island until that pantry is empty. We group all the like things, and then we start looking for dates. Laura was literally in tears. She was so horrified. We filled 3 trash bags filled with outdated, no one's going to eat them anymore, taste change, there goes that maple oatmeal and the peanut butter and the apple cinnamon, and just kind of things that are like, I'm actually not clear sure what that is, like kind of like a science project. So there's such waste that we encounter. And what she and her husband vowed after that is not to go to Costco every week. They went every single week. That was the Saturday thing to do. And the dad went. And I think it's kind of like that, like I'm going to provide, I'm like a lion, I'm going to go provide for my family and bring them large things to eat because I love them. You know? So they're going once a month. And here's the other thing, like bigger, like those value stores are not always value. Like I shop at Stop and Shop. And I buy the Dunkin' Donuts French vanilla K-Cups, okay? One time there was, in my usual 10-pack is whatever, and then they had this 20-pack next to it. They're like, woo, 20-pack. Unit price of the 20-pack was higher than the unit price of the, so you really have to look. They're trying to just sell us and tell us that bigger is better and that it's a great deal. But when you look at, sometimes the cost truly isn't, and then the cost to store and the cost of waste, it becomes a no-win proposition. So please, try to resist these big mungo places. Also, the National Resources Defense Council tells us that 40% of food in America goes to waste every single year. That's a gross number. 40%. Now, sometimes it will spoil at the source, the fields or farms. Sometimes it'll spoil in the distribution channel, maybe the trucks, the trains, or in the warehouses, the stores. But I promise you, it spoils in our homes, in our refrigerators, our pantries, our cupboards. So let's see if we can turn that train around. Playrooms. Yay!
How many kids?
Sarah has 2 little ones. 2. The little boy is about this big and the little girl about that big. 2. They live in a beautiful home, and this playroom in the basement, one of the nicest I've seen. Lots of storage, generous space. But what happens a lot of times, like the good news is you have a lot of space. The bad news is you have a lot of space and you fill it. So the thing is, again, our intentions, we love our kids. We want to give them what they want. We want to show our love. We don't want to deny them. But those kids would land in that playroom, again, they're this big, and they would be overstimulated. They would never want to be down there without Sarah. They never really played with anything. They just kind of glossed over, like, whoa. Like, we have the aerial view, right? 5 feet and above. It makes a little more sense. Imagine if you're this tall and this tall, and your perspective is just a sea of stuff. That's what it is for our kids and our animals too. Like our little puppies and our cats. it's very anxiety, you know, producing, and it's hard. So, here's the other shocking stat. Okay. America, United States, we have 3% of the world's children. That's it, 3%. United States purchases 41% of the world's toys. Can anybody make sense of that math? I'm not a math person, but I can. So that's why playrooms across America look like this. Now, we donated 1.5 carloads in my MDX, donated toys and games and all that kind of stuff and books. Sarah sold a few higher value items online, and this is what it looked like. We bought nothing new. She had everything. We simply, she knew what they played with. The mom always knows. Moms are smart. So, you know, and I'll tell you something. The kids, they didn't go down there and say like, where's my something robot, or where's my, you know, puppy thing. They're just like, hey, I'm gonna go play with the trucks because I can see them. And they really do. They play down there more comfortably, more fully for longer periods. And game changer, Sarah does not need to be down there. They're comfortable. Now, again, it does not always look like this at the end of every day, but it always looks better than it did. And it's easier. You know, each bin has like one of the animals, one of the trucks, just help the kids put them away. All right, so this is sort of like too much of a good thing. Tupperware. I believe that the minute we close the drawer or the cabinet on Tupperware, it like multiplies, right? So, go through, just match up bottoms and tops, get rid of the stained, cracked, yucky ones, because there's always new stuff coming in, and they're inexpensive. So just, you know, get rid of those orphans and have a couple of rounds, a couple of squares. But you need to pull them all out just like that to really appreciate what you have. Don't hold back. If there's some over here in that drawer, get them all out. And then technology. The thing about technology is it gets outdated and, you know, what's the other word? But it gets outdated immediately, like almost immediately. Like, you know, you can't charge an iPhone 5 with the same thing as an iPhone 10. Like that's how they get you. So be okay with just recycling these things, get them out of here. So many people are like, well, I might need that someday. I promise you won't. And then those are bra inserts for sports bras. Guys, Zorro, if you didn't know what those were on the left. So I had a client, and she was just a big fitness buff, but you know, she had like, we went through and she picked out like her favorite 4 sports bras, because you know those things like that, they can get like really weird. So, but she ended up with like thousands of these inserts. So she picked her favorite: white, black, and nude, and end of story. Too much of there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. And then our schedules, right?
That's what mine looks like.
Dolly Parton said, one of my favorite quotes, "Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life." And what we do, and what I did back when my dad was in ICU, I'm trying to do it all. I'm still trying to get out and sell, and still trying to do this and do that, and you end up not doing anything well. So, raise a show of hands, please. Who here feels that you just have gobs and gobs of time? You've got nothing but time. More time than you know what to do with. We have one Boston Red Sox fan out there. Nothing but time. Awesome. All right. How many of you feel? How many of you feel you have just enough time to get it done? Like your head is just barely above water. Just enough time to get it done. Wow. Okay. 2 people. How many of you feel like I'm drowning, there just aren't enough hours in the day? Throw 'em. Yeah. The truth is, my friends, we all have the exact same 24 hours a day. The magic, the secret is how we choose to spend that time. Yes, we all have different circumstances, and yes, we sometimes have different excuses, but the trick is making the choice. And if we don't make the choice of how we spend our time, there are plenty around us who are going to make that choice for us. Our boss, our spouse, our kids, our parents, they're all going to make those choices if we don't. I do a whole workshop, a whole presentation on boundaries, setting boundaries, the magic of saying no, mastering the art of saying no. It's the most beautiful word in the language, because when you say no to all the stuff, you're saying yes to yourself. And the better, the more, or the less drained and exhausted and depleted you are, the better you are for your families, for your jobs, for yourselves. It's so easy, but it's so hard to do. So, let's see what we got next. Oh, I love this one. I don't know who Judy Brown is. I just found this quote and I fell in love with it. The idea is that space, when we pack our lives too tightly, when we pack our space too fully, we don't give room for life to breathe. It really stops us. We've kind of like lost that art of lingering. Who here naps? Oh, people, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. Somebody said sleep. Like sleep is the only time in our entire experience, sleep is the only time that our body heals, that we restore and heal ourselves. So we've kind of lost that whole like art of lingering and relaxing and creating and just being, because our culture tells us, hey, keep doing it, be a mover and a shaker, do it all, don't be lazy. Early bird gets the worm, right? So we would invite so much more of everything good into our relationships, our surroundings, our lives, if we just made space for it. So, the how. I talked all this like theory stuff, and I've seen all the nods and everything, but the how. I think that's pretty important to share with you. So first of all, like so many things in life, your why is even more important than the how. Like, why do you want to live with less? Why do you desire simplicity? That's what's going to fuel you on the journey. To share with you a couple of my clients and their whys. So one why was with Lisa, less friction and arguing. She worked full-time during the day at Fidelity. Her husband was a chef at night. They were kind of like ships passing in the night, but when they did, there was arguing. Arguing about the clutter, arguing about the mail, arguing about the bill being paid late, arguing just about the stuff. So her why was, I need to bring more harmony into our family, into our home. Because that friction, it's real. Maureen used to love to entertain. Years ago, she was an entertainer, used to love it. And then some things happened in her life where, she just didn't do that anymore, and things started piling up. It was a tough time for her. So her why for getting rid of the stuff and shedding some things on her calendar was that she wanted to get back to inviting friends and family to her home to entertain. Beautiful why. And when you got that, man, that pushes you through just maybe some of the hard times of going through the closet and just doing it. So number 2, okay, less is not nothing. We're not talking like a monk with a table and a pencil and that's it. It's not austerity, it's not minimalism. So you decide. No one's gonna tell you, I'm sure not gonna come in as a coach and tell you what to get rid of. Together we decide, you decide, what's enough? How many wooden spoons do you need? How many pillows do you need? What's enough? And when it doesn't add value anymore or you stop enjoying it, then let it go. Number 3, slow and steady will yield sustainable results way more than fast and furious. Like, we didn't just come into Sarah's playroom in like 2.5 hours and like, bewitched, all of a sudden, poof, it's done. Like it takes a little bit of time, but it's one of those things where the return on that investment are huge. It's so worth it. Small progress, still progress. I always tell my clients, celebrate every little step. So let's say your closet is really bugging you, it's out of control. How about on Saturday morning, you go in there with a cup of coffee and all you do is look at the shoes. I'm only gonna be considering my shoes this morning. So for 25, 30 minutes, you're banging through the shoes, out, 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 keep. And you're like, success. And then maybe Sunday night, you go back to the closet and all you're dealing with are shirts. Just shirts. Be super focused, and now you got another success. You string together enough of those, and like it's a game changer. And you're not hijacking your entire Saturday and Sunday, just doing that. And this is my very favorite. This comes from Courtney Carver. She is one of those thought leaders in the organizing simplicity industry. Courtney Carver. She has her thing is be more with less. That's kind of her thing. And she says that holding on is harder than letting go. And this is God, absolutely truth, gospel. So by holding on, you have to hold on every day. You have to hold on with your time, with your money, with your attention. You're stepping over those piles and you're arranging and rearranging, and people are coming over, so you're shoving and then you're unshoving. Like holding on is hard. You let go only once, and it's so freeing. Best thing ever. Get out of here. Any questions on that part? So what do you get when you simplify? Oh my gosh, I need more time than this. Okay, you get clarity. When I simplified my life, I got such clarity on what was important, and it was family and being present with my mom. And I got clarity on other relationships. I really did declutter some relationships. That was a perfect time to kick some people to the curb who were no longer aligned with how I wanted my life to be. You obviously get space, and I firmly believe that when you create space, you literally are inviting good things into your life. You're able to see maybe possibilities to scale your business, or you're able to see new relationships. Good chi can kind of fly around and not crash into the bookcase jammed with books. Like free space is just so cathartic. Health, they find that typically people who lead a more simple life, they are a little more healthy. They become a little more mindful of moving their body, what they put in their body, more aware of how much stress they allow into their world. Presence, hello, we already talked about that with my mother, but it's also presence with, just when your schedule is, when you declutter your schedule a little bit, like you can actually be present at the dinner table with your kids instead of like checking emails. And when you go to a game or a concert, you can like really fully marinate and enjoy, instead of just being like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, because I've got all these perceptions and obligations and blah. Relationships, we talked about it. Joy. I had a client, Olivia, and she got divorced, moved from her lovely giant home like in Bedford to a condo, and what she didn't do was eliminate a lot of things before the move. So that condo had almost as much stuff as that lovely large home. And it was stifling and suffocating, and it caused her great stress. So we spent a good deal of time really going through and helping her identify what was worth keeping and what could be let go. And when she did that, now she actually will invite people over for book club. She fostered 2 little black cats. They're the cutest things, because now she has the space and the time, and they're bringing her such joy. She's gotten back to yoga, which she had not done since before she was divorced. So it really does open up your life to more joy. And yes, hi.
Just how many times, like per year, do you suggest the purging of like everything, like schedule it?
Okay, so my philosophy is that organizing, there's no period at the end of it. It is a journey. It is a path. Consider it your life's work. But everybody's got their own thing. You could do it once a quarter if you feel like it, like when the seasons. And I'm not talking about seasonal clothes, because I'm like a big non-endorser of seasonal wardrobes. Sorry. But just maybe once a quarter. It's just like, hey, summer, let me like do the garage. Or hey, winter, now it's not so hot that I can go up into the attic. And hey, fall, now it's time to get the winter coats and the boots, out. So, just whatever feels good for you. You mentioned the word schedule, and I actually like that, because I come from like that corporate, sales type of thing. And there's a philosophy that says if you don't schedule it, you don't do it. Make an appointment with yourself. By God, you're important. And you tell everybody around, hey, listen, people, family, whatever, I am not available for this half hour. I have a meeting in my closet. Unless you are like bleeding, on fire, or dying, or something, do not disturb me, because I'm in a meeting. But sometimes that really helps people to schedule it. Yeah.
And how about the paper stuff? Like, what did you suggest to that gentleman whose office was out of?
So first of all, where does the mail come in? What is the point of entry for that godforsaken paper? Okay, and wherever it is, we're going to set a little shelf here, and we're going to have the recycling bin and the trash bin right there. And you're going to stand. You don't even let those bad boys come in this house until you rip it open and decide, okay, that's a bill, yeah, I'll take it. Magazines, stupid catalog, blah, 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 blah. Recycle immediately. And then, for paperwork, once you create the destination space in your file cabinets or wherever you are, then there's no lingering or loitering. When you maybe stage the bill to be paid, and when it's paid, write in. And the trick is to keep those things. Now that's something you want to do definitely at least once a year. Maybe be January. Do not let January go by without going through your drawers and taking anything out. Either shred it or recycle it if it's not important, but if it is like taxes or medical stuff or whatever, archive it. Put it in one of those banker boxes that you kind of like assemble from Staples, and put it in the attic or in the basement, but get it out of prime real estate, because now for 2020, you need those drawers free to accommodate the current stuff. Yes?
In addition to her question, that we were saying about having a banker's box, which sounds nice, but it creates those really awful
Mites.
bugs, the one with like 1 million legs.
1,000 letters?
Yeah.
Centipedes?
Yeah.
In cardboard?
Yeah, that's where it comes from. So that's where they live. They like them.
Okay.
So
All right,
anyway,
so you can have a
but
plastic
what I
bin,
wanted to ask you
yeah.
is, do you recommend like to get a scanner and then scan?
Oh, scanning
That's
is,
one thing
yes,
I want- that was
yes.
one of the
I
questions I
love
had.
scanning, yes, yes, yes. If you have a scanner on your copier or you buy a standalone scanner, those are wonderful. I encourage people, yes, to use technology as much as possible.
What is one that you recommend? Because I had one and I didn't like
Yes.
the way it was working. I mean, I scanned it and then you have to make a file.
Yeah,
and
thank
then
you.
A file that you can access.
I think that's pretty much what you want. You don't want it just to be scanned into oblivion. You want to create a file. You want it to be organized. It's a virtual file cabinet. So I would encourage you to rethink that. Set up before you start scanning, start thinking, what kind of files would I have in a drawer if I had them? You know, insurance, medical, you know, whatever it is. And then recreate those electronically and drag those things right into those folders.
Like I have those, like on document, Microsoft document,
Mhm.
like I file them in those things. But if I feel like I can't find, is there something you recommend?
I'm totally blanking on the name of the one that is endorsed by National Association of Professional Organizers as well.
Is it Epson?
Nope.
Why
Nope.
not just get the app on your phone and
Yeah.
scan it? That's what I do.
You can. You can. Yeah. Now we're getting, wait, scan everything.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, now, if it's a picture, then you might have a situation where you need to up your cloud storage to accommodate all the pictures, but, you know, here's the thing, there's no one Simplify with Eileen solution. I wanna work with how your brain works. You might be a paper person, you might be a scanner person, and you're like a handheld, you know, phone person. And yes, they're all great. It just, whatever is gonna work for you to maintain, for it to be sustainable.
And get rid
Because
of
we could
color.
set up some elaborate system and you just are paralyzed after I leave and you don't use it. That's not helping. Yes?
Can you talk about what you said when you're not, when you don't really, you're not in favor of seasonal clothes?
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yes, so Courtney Carver, who I mentioned, has a thing called Project 333. And her philosophy is she has 33 items of clothing for every 3 months, all right? Now, what I do, I don't subscribe to that, but that's a good thing to look at. What I do is, except for maybe white pants, I'll put them in the back of my closet. I have one closet. And I have the doors off my closet because I love it so much. Like everything's color coded.
Do you have a picture of it?
I should take a picture of it. You know what? No, if you go on my YouTube channel is Eileen Reed, you'll see my closet. Yeah. So what I do is I mix and match. Like this blue thing, I can wear it in the summer, I can wear it in the fall, spring, winter, right? I have like, most things are just universal. They're utility pieces. I don't have very many clothes at all. I don't want a lot of clothes. But I have to have clothes like this, and I have to have my work clothes, because I'm like in attics and in garages and stuff. But I encourage, like that top could just be any season, totally any season. So we wear, here's the stats, we wear 20% of our clothes 80% of the time. We all know what our faves are, our go-tos. We know the rest is just taking up space. And that ritual of taking all the fall stuff and shoving it into a bin and lugging it up or under the bed or whatever, I feel it's kind of thankless work, and I feel it's not terribly necessary. I think if we find what looks good on us, what we like, what fits, you know, that shirt, it might fit so well, you get it in a couple of different colors, and man, that's your uniform. There's also, if you've seen on social media, there's that whole uniform sort of thing. Like a woman wore literally like the same thing to work every day. She would maybe change her shoes or a belt. Nobody noticed. People aren't looking at you. I mean, they really aren't. Like, when was the last time you said, like, oh my God, Nancy wore those pants on Monday? What the hell? I can't believe she's wearing them again.
Kids notice, I teach and kids notice.
Kid,
Yeah,
if you do,
yeah,
who cares?
well, I don't know, but I like that statistic that you said.
We
that
wear
wear
20,
20% of our clothes,
80% of the
That's a
time.
good thing to get.
Yes. The rest is just in the way. It's getting in our way, it's slowing us down. Yes.
But I think if
If they
kids
say
don't,
that, tell them you have 3 pairs of the same pair.
Or 3 dresses, yeah, that exact same dress 3 times.
I got black pants, I got 3 pairs
Yeah.
of the same.
I don't know. When I hit 50, I just stopped caring. I don't care what anybody says. If you look at all the presentations I've done, I'm probably wearing these pants or my black skinny pants the entire time. I don't care. I like them. They fit well. They make me feel good. I don't care. I just, yeah, I can't care. You had a comment, I'm
oh,
sorry.
I was just gonna say, if you're clean and smell good, it doesn't matter what you're wearing.
Amen. Yes, ma'am.
How long did it take you to lose your weight you had?
So the first time, back then, I did Weight Watchers, and it took me probably about 9 to 10 months. Yeah. Yep, Weight Watchers is good. Well, Weight Watchers also says, or at least my leader says, about clothes. You know how you got your closet and you got skinny clothes? The inspiration clothes, I'm so gonna fit in those someday. You got what you're wearing now, and then you got the fat clothes. Now, that's a lot of negative drag in your closet, people, when you open that in the morning, because those skinny clothes are saying, loser. Remember how great it was when you could wear me and now you're fat? Like, who needs that? I don't need that. And then the fat clothes are saying, you know what? I don't trust that you're gonna keep the weight off, so I'm just gonna hang out here until you get fat enough to wear me again. Like, come on. Life is hard enough. We don't need that negative stuff. And, hello, that means your wardrobe is now 3 times the size it should be. I encourage you to embrace who you are, where you are today. Love it, embrace it. We only got, there's no guarantee we have tomorrow. What are we stockpiling for the future for? And back then, the history, that was then, it's gone. We can't do anything about it, it happened. All we have is today. That's the only guarantee we have. And if we make the most of it and have our surroundings and our relationships and our calendars and our health and all that serving us, we're gonna be a lot better off. So, the whole enough thing, we do enough, we have enough, and we are enough. What I'd like to do, I'll take more questions too, but just to get through this, if anybody would like to participate in what I call my Declutter Burst Challenge. It's wicked fun. We do it sort of through Facebook, and it's a great way to exercise some of these decluttering muscles and have a lot of fun doing it. If you are interested in getting all the details, I normally charge for this, but for everybody here, I'm making it available to you at no charge. All you need to do is pop onto my website anytime before midnight tonight, and when you do, there'll be a little pop-up that says, join my newsletter, okay? Anyone who fills it out, you fill out your name and your email, okay? If you do that, I will send you there's be a couple of emails with all the tips and tricks and how-to on the challenge, and you'll get it for free, but you gotta do it before midnight. If any of you don't feel like doing that and you wanna sign up on the sign-up list, old school, you can do that too, I'll email you. Even if you're not on Facebook, still do it if you get email, because you can still do the challenge. I'll give you all the rules and all the tips. So, simplifywitheileen.com is the website. The pop-up will say, join my newsletter. Put your name and email in, and we'll get you rocking and rolling.
Did we join just by signing that clipboard?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, I thank you guys. Oh yeah, that's what it looks like. Huh, I did that. That's exactly what it looks like.
And here it is, for those, if anyone missed
Yeah.
it.
If anybody just wants to sign up old school, it's right here. So
You were saying you have a YouTube?
I have a YouTube. If you go onto my website, there are links to
Oh, okay.
my YouTube, my Instagram, my Twitter, my
Pinterest.
yeah, I don't do really, I don't
Sounds
really do
complicated.
Pinterest. It's so simple. It's so simple. It's not cluttered, it's beautifully organized. Zorro.
Watch out.
Okay, Zorro. Yes,
How long have you run your business?
10 years. This is my 10-year anniversary. Yes, and I tell you, the money that I used to make, I mean, the cost of it was just so high. And I used to hate Sundays. Oh my God, that corporate slog. How the hell do Mondays keep happening? I love Mondays. Like, I love what I do. I feel like I literally transform lives. So any successes or tips that any of you have had in simplifying and organizing, or any questions that I can help you with?
I was just gonna, sorry,
Yes.
I was just gonna say, one of my successes has been like, I've organized my, my week. I used to like, do like 5 to 10 different things. Right now I'm on disability, I don't work anymore, but because my job is going to physical therapy.
Perfect.
So my job is 3 times a week, and then I have a day program I go to twice a week. So then every day, the rest of the day is I can make my own food, and so I decluttered all my days, and I have been
Beautiful.
doing small accomplishments with
Right,
like
that
getting
fuel
rid
your
of
success and
books
you feel
and
good.
paper, magazines, donating them, all that stuff. So
Beautiful.
that's why I came. I was like, I wanted to see if I'm on the right track.
Sounds
looks
like
I
it.
am.
Sounds like it.
Shoes is
Yes,
next.
Zorro.
I married a great organizer, so I don't have to worry about it.
Well, you bring up a wonderful point. Now, he's not organized, Mrs. Zorro?
He's not terrible.
Okay.
I put him
All
into
right.
shape.
All right, very good. I'm glad. And that's good that you guys are somewhat on the same page. A question I get all the time at these things is, what do I do with my kids or my husband? You know, they're just, I want to call you and have you come in and work with them. No, they have to want it for themselves. It's hard when we live with people in our homes who do not share our beliefs or the way we want life to be. So what I suggest, the best thing you can do is, that was very funny, she said get rid of him. But before you do that, try leading by example. Show them the promised land. Show them just like, if maybe in the kitchen you just organize things and they're like, yeah, where's the batteries? Here they are, awesome, right? Batteries. And if they say, where are my keys? Where are my keys? Oh, I put them on the hook because that's where the keys go. Here you go, off you go. And so if they start seeing how less stressed you are and how productive and how you get out the door and how there's not like nagging and fighting, maybe that will inspire. So that's number 1. Number 2 is pick your battles. If the kid, the teenager, has a hellacious room and it's just, you can't get them to do, short of like having DSS come in, you can't get them to do it, just shut the door. And insist that in the common areas, it's mama's rules. And just pick like, hey, all I ask from you people who are driving me crazy, all I ask from you people is kitchen, bathroom, and living room. It's gotta be this way. You can do whatever you want in your room, just please close the door, right? And then again, just keep inspiring and leading and guiding and preaching and all that. In the back, yes.
I have 2 things. I like how the French, I like how you said that, like I think Monday I have to go food shopping. And I went food shopping Monday and I was crazy in the store, like everyone was in my way. So I like that, like think about, I have plenty to eat in my house, and I have plenty to eat.
Sure.
That's the first thing that I'm gonna think about too. The second thing, the fine art of tidying up with
Marie Kondo.
Yeah, can we talk about that?
Yes.
Like I moved from a 4-bedroom colonial to a 1-bedroom apartment.
All right.
So I read that book and
Yes.
and I wanna hear your.
I have a question. What do you think of the standard of does it spark joy?
I liked it, but I had someone with me, I had a mentor. who's like rigid, like, I don't buy books anymore, I don't, like, there's some things that she.
Library, why would you buy a book?
Right. So she would hold up, like, I did what she said about when you go to clean, like, you go to clean the closet, the bathroom closet, go clean out towels. Just do towels first, like,
Yeah.
candles, just tie candles.
Yep.
And that's how it went for me, and I was pretty successful about that. Clothes were another issue, I had every closet in the house was pretty
Yeah,
much mine,
yeah.
except half of one was, yes, so.
All right.
And so I had someone there that, what about this? And
Mhm.
if I hesitated, she would call me right on.
It's so good to have that accountability part of
Yeah.
that coach, that whatever.
Yeah.
So Marie Kondo, she has 2 books. The first one is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and the second book is Spark Joy. And what she says, I love because she's bringing light to this whole industry and this whole concept of living more simply. She says, touch something, touch the towel, touch the thing, and if it sparks joy, then you keep it, and if not, you let it go. I don't know. I kind of think from a practical standpoint, there can be a lot of things in your house that are sparking joy that are going to have you end up with a lot of stuff. So, I take it a step further. I acknowledge and respect the spark joy. However, my question then is this item, relationship, obligation, whatever, is it serving me, my space, and my life today? Because if it's some textbook from college and it's just collecting spiders in a box in the basement, it's not serving me. Off you go. If it's something I'm stockpiling, like, oh, I bought these cross-country skis 6 years ago, and someday I'm going to cross-country ski. Okay.
I have 7 pairs of cross-country skis and I use every one of them.
Oh.
You would think of that.
Wow. All right, exception to every rule. But get rid of the skis, and I don't know, if you ever do go cross-country skiing a few years from now, rent them. Right? So, is it serving me, my life, and my space today? Yes, keep. No, sayonara.
You take turns or
In the back.
how do you
Speaking
assess?
to what you were just saying, so I recently had a
They
new son,
different?
and before he came, I kind of tried to address everything in my house, because I knew the onslaught of stuff.
Oh, baby, something.
So the way I kind of framed it was, I got rid of the things that were who I used to be,
Yeah.
things I was holding on to that were not a part of who I am anymore.
Right.
And the things that I was holding on to for who I thought I was gonna be, the projects I was gonna do, you know, the
I'm gonna do that
stuff.
scrapbook for the baby.
And that was like
Yeah.
80% of my clutter, was all
Right.
the stuff that was not who I am
Right.
now.
So that's a slightly different but very similar way of saying, for the past, let it go. For the future, let it go. Live for today, who you are, embrace. Love it, love it, so good. Yes.
I love Post-its. I use them. You gave them to us. How do you use them?
I think I became a little kind of wary of Post-its because there was a guy when I was in corporate, the salesperson who sat next to me, Greg. Oh my God, Post-its everywhere. It was like Mr. Post-it just like threw up in his cube. There was just Post-its everywhere. So I don't use Post-its a lot, but I had to have something. If I'm going to give anybody anything, right, it's got to be functional and useful. So, I don't know if I really use Post-its that much. How do you use them?
Just to remember things that, you know, that's off my mind.
Yeah.
Just quick.
Yeah. I think when I remember Greg, so many things would fall through the cracks for him. And he was always like, oh, Eileen, do you have this, whatever. Like, things would fall through, because the wind would blow and the Post-it would or he would put his Franklin planner down and it would, it would squish and the Post-it would stick to it. So they didn't always feel permanent enough for me, I guess was my only thing. But hey, again, that's me. I don't shove, anti-Post-it notes to my clients, because if someone like you, if it's working for you, amen, Sister Sledge. Yes, love it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, I do my schedule on my phone too. Love it. Got reminders, you can color code it. I love it. Yes.
Do you work yourself, as you have a team?
So I have a team of, well, employees, just sort of when I need them. When I'm doing big projects, I did a big clean out for a Navy vet and had 3 other organizers work with me. When I'm doing an estate sale, if we're doing like a big garage project, but I kind of purposely named my company Simplify with Eileen because I love doing the work. It's so fulfilling for me. And I'm also a coach. Like, I'm not just some little fairy who's gonna come in while you're at work and like, do it, and then you come home and you don't maintain it. Like, that's not my model. But I have W-2 employees who are vetted and screened and all that when I need them. But I prefer to work with my clients, either one-on-one in person, or I also do virtual coaching. Sometimes we'll just pop on the phone for 2 hours and do a little kind of Zoom connect or something, and we go through a particular area or a topic together, and we can do it just in the comfort of our own homes. Yes, sir?
When every room needs to be done, where do you start?
So, what the place to start usually is, what's the biggest pain for you? It's either, I can't sleep in this bedroom because it's so cluttered and I need my sleep. Like, when we talk through, usually something will bubble up. So, you know, we talk about where the greatest pain is. Sometimes we'll start with a room like closets so that we create destination space. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So we create destination space for all the things.
Just have one comment.
Yes.
I love your Fitbit.
Oh, hey, Fitbit twin. Yeah, thank you. I'm over 10,000. How about you today?
I still have a few more to go, but I usually average above 10.
Beautiful.
Saturday was 13, and 3 or 4 weeks ago, 20,000.
Nice. Thanks for coming. Thank you so much. Yeah, and anyone who just ever has like questions, they just want to reach out and just either ask me a question or ask what working with me looks like, you can always text me, or on my email, there's a contact, or on my website, there's a contact form too. I do a free sort of just phone discovery, just kind of talk through and see if it feels like a good fit to work together. So we were talking about which room? Yeah.
Start with you.
Yeah, so it's just wherever, you know, the biggest win is gonna be for you. I never start with like photographs, I'll just tell you that much. Okay? Photographs like that, you gotta, it's sort of, that's a marathon, that's 26 miles. We gotta start with a 5K, you know, we gotta start building our chuck muscle.
The rabbit hole.
Right, yeah, so I mean, that's really kind of one of my only hard and fast rules, is I won't start with photographs. It's too much. Yeah. You guys have been awesome. I thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Just so you know, probably in about a week or 2, you'll get the first email about the Declutter Burst. Don't worry if you don't get it for a week or 2, you will. Okay? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.